G'day viewers. Well, the final US presidential debate before the actual election happened today. And a lot of people went, yay, how many goddamn debates do they need? Personally, I think the 3 is not overkill considering the format they're done in. If you did one proper one, like no fucking audience, stop trying to make it a popularity contest, but just policy experts grilling each of the candidates on, okay, what about this, what about this, what about this? None of this bullshit going for sound bites and saying, I'm cooler than them or I'm outsassing them, but actually who is competent and fit for this role? Because we never would have had the fucking clown show of Donald Trump if it wasn't made about personalities. It's an insult to everyone that these elections... America, I think, is just about the worst at it, but it's a common problem around the world that it's about personalities. This ridiculous bullshit about, well, who'd you rather have a drink with? It's like, fuck off! Who's not going to destroy the world? Who has policies that aren't complete shit? Who can say something intelligent? When did being smart become a fucking negative? This is ridiculous. Anyway, it's pretty obvious to everyone but a really deluded small diehard group that the Trump train has crashed really badly and it's getting worse every single day. I was very worried because logic suggested way back when he was first in, he could not possibly win because it's like, well, dude, you're alienating everyone who's not an angry white man, and there's a lot of them, but they aren't a majority. You can't logically win an election if you alienate every minority, every different ethnic group and women, and only appeal to angry white dudes. And for a scary amount of time, it looked like he was a reasonable chance of winning. Now it looks virtually impossible for him to win. If you want intelligent analysis, there's a good website called 538 that does just statistical analysis, and they've been very accurate since they've been running, and they've got it that Clinton is between 85 and 90% likely to win the election. And I mean, that's a blowout. That sort of margin almost never happens. And it's getting worse for Trump by the day. Like, he's losing about another percentage point in their polls every day. You know, maybe it'll be an absolutely crushing, humiliating defeat, which is what I want, because the Republican Party needs to build itself out of those ashes. Stop being so fucking stupid. Conservative doesn't mean stupid. You've just made it that way, and you need to fucking wake up that you've hit rock bottom. Speaking of 538, one of their best bits of analysis that I saw saying, why did Trump do so well in the Republican primaries, and why is he crashing and burning now? So, well, he did this thing where he appealed to this 30-35% rabid right-wing base, and when you're up against, 15, 16 other competitors in your own party, that's a winning strategy. But when you're up against only one opponent from the other party, that strategy cannot possibly win. And instead of learning and appealing more to moderates, Trump's ridiculously doubled down on, hey, I'm going to appeal to the extremists. You can't win an election that way. And he said this ridiculous shit about, it's rigged. And that was the big takeaway from the debate. This looks like it's going to be the front page on every newspaper in America, the lead story on every network. Trump is basically hinting he'll refuse to accept the result because he knows with almost no doubt he's going to lose, and the loss is probably going to be humiliating. No sane person could regard it as a fix when he does lose, but there is a tiny group who aren't sane and can be convinced of this. I'm not just saying that about Trump supporters, by the way, of any sort of political bent. There is a tiny group who are so fucking married to an idea, no matter how much evidence they see that contradicts their position, they won't give up. In fact, they'll dig their heels in harder. The good old Dunning-Kruger effect, just showing up the world there. So yeah, Trump's hinted. I think he will actually accept. He'll talk shit because it's all about publicity for him. But while there is scary shit being said about with him saying, oh, rigged, scare the minorities so they don't vote That's all worrying and threatening, and a lot of people are getting a bit pearl clutching about it. I think that's like typical the South will rise again bullshit. It's like there's a lot of talk, and it's an aggressive talk, and it's violent talk, and then nothing ever happens. I hope I'm right. It'd be awful if it was wrong and there is actual violent actions in a result of Trump getting beaten. And it's not just the extremists. There's always people on both sides of politics who goes, oh, if that person wins, I'm leaving the country. And that's horseshit. First, because they never do it. Never. And second, because that's a bullshit response. If you care about what happens and somebody gets in who's going to implement policies that you think are bad, you don't run away. You stay and fight. You take a stand. This idea of I'm leaving the country is pathetic for both those reasons. So yeah, Trump's doing this bullshit about I'm not going to accept the result, and the media's all over it. It's going to be irrelevant. I am quite convinced that as angry as he's made a small group of his supporters, they're fucking pathetic and they won't do anything. And Trump is going to go down in history as the biggest loser of all time. That's the thing I want to get through to these diehard supporters. Not the people who are just voting Republican because they can't bring themselves to not vote Republican. I get that. I don't actually agree with you, but I get that, you know, that's your party line, and even if this particular person's a freakazoid, you're going to vote along Republican lines. That's your thing. That's okay. But the people who actually think Trump is a genius and a billionaire and a miracle businessman, and that when he loses, it will be because it's rigged, you're not in touch with reality. You look very stupid now. You will look more stupid if he gets the sort of crushing defeat it looks like he's going to get. And history will not judge you kindly. You'll be in textbooks as the worst people in the world. And I know you probably don't care. If you are of the mindset that you think Trump is a good person and a good candidate, this again, Dunning-Kruger, you have no idea the degree to which you are unqualified to make any sort of rational judgment. You don't care that you will literally go down in history as the biggest fuckwits on the planet, but that's what's going to happen.